What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about one of the biggest regrets I've had Pokemon investing that still haunts me to this day, and we're going to tie it in to the Sun and Moon update. And if you guys want to go look at all the numbers, the spreadsheet update is done. It's complete. You can go check now. Most stuff was up. I think like Guardians Rising, Crimson Invasion, and then like Ultra Prism. The average sale price was down. I think for Crimson Invasion and Guardians Rising, it was only like a $10 difference or something. Ultra Prism, I think last update, it was close to 1,700 average sale price. This update, it was 1,500. Again, that's only based on like a handful of sales, so it's nothing too crazy to worry about. All the other boxes were up. Team Up average sale price was $9,400 or something. A lot of the other good tag team sets were up. So if you want to go check that out, awesome. If not, we're going to talk a little bit about my biggest mistake, or regret, I should say, which the reason why on this channel I'm such a big advocate for buying the best sets is because over time, they tend to perform better than the average set. And also, if you only listen to certain content creators that say to buy at MSRP or below MSRP, you miss out. A lot of the time you'll miss out. For example, if you only buy at MSRP, you wouldn't have bought Evolving Skies at $200, at $400, at $600, at $800, at $1,000, right? And now Evolving Skies is 2.5K, well on its way to $3,000. You wouldn't have bought Team Up at $500, $700. You wouldn't have bought, I don't know, Unbroken Bonds at $400, right? Whatever it was, middle of last year. And that is probably my biggest regret, is not buying a lot of these older sets when they were cheap a couple years ago. Because a couple years ago, I was fairly new at this. I didn't really know what I was doing completely. And I took the advice of a lot of people online who said, you know, these sets are already 2x MSRP, 3x MSRP, just put your money elsewhere, you know, buy some of these newer sets that were coming out, like, I don't know, Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, whatever was hot at the time, some of the Esfera sets. And I've done very well investing into Sword and Shield sets, investing into Scarlet and Violet sets. But even just breaking it down on a percentage basis, I think some of my best investments are probably Fusion Strike is up there. And I think I've probably, like 6x'd my money on my Fusion Strike booster boxes. If I would have bought Sun and Moon even last year, right, or the year before that, like late 2023, I probably would be up more than 6x on some of these, especially Team Up. I mean, you could buy that box for less than $2,000 a year ago, right? So it definitely pains me not to have any exposure to them, and not just for the gains, but also just having a little bit more diversification when it comes to my portfolio. And I think long term, a lot of these Sun and Moon boxes, maybe the gains slow down, maybe they don't. They could continue to outperform Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, but also just, you know, knowing that we're not getting any more of these sets, they're going to be rare every single day. And I look at like some streams online, like I've been watching Wenzel TCG almost every night when they're streaming, and they open a lot of Sun and Moon, a lot of like XY and older era stuff. So it's not like any of this isn't being opened, and we are seeing it constantly reduce in terms of the overall supply out there. So I wish I had a little bit more exposure to Sun and Moon. That's kind of what I was trying to get across in this. But for some of you guys who have been in the hobby longer, that might have been a regret not buying more XY or Black and White, or for some of you newer guys, maybe not picking up Sword and Shield last year. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard the quote, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is now. Basically meaning that, you know, whatever you could have done in the past, if you didn't do it, fine, you can still do it today, right? For a lot of people, you're still going to be able to buy some of these. I know for some people, like a Team Up box, it's definitely gotten out of hand. You're probably not going to be able to afford that, and that's fine, right? Like, me buying a Team Up box, it'd be very hard to justify at this point, even though I could. But I bring that up because I see a lot of people in my comment section all the time, right? They're basically saying this: I wish I bought more of this. I wish I bought more of that. Should I buy, you know, Chilling Reign at $400, already like 3x MSRP? Should I buy Brilliant Stars? Or Fusion's getting close to 800. Seems like it's getting a little bit more expensive. I guess, right? This is just what I think is going to happen. I think probably, you know, 3 to 4 years, 5 years down the road, we're going to be looking back at this, and there's going to be a lot of people going, damn, you know, I wish I got some exposure to Fusion Strike when it was $800 bucks. I could have bought it for $800. It's $4,000 now, right? And again, I'm not saying that's going to happen with 100% certainty. We don't know the future. Anything could happen, but just based on the past performance of XY era, Sun and Moon era, now Sword and Shield era, I would not be surprised if that's going to be the case. So that's all I was trying to get across in this video, and to leave you guys with a little bit more value, because I know some people are going to be like, yeah, Grayson, whatever, like, I've heard this from other channels a million times. Well, we'll just look at a couple of these cards because I don't think some of you guys are paying attention to these tag team cards. I know a lot of you do track the tag team cards almost religiously. The Gengar Mimikyu GX, the most recent sale on this card, $1,000. And before that, even earlier in August, like a couple weeks ago at this point, 1,500 raw, 1,100 raw. Keep an eye on the Gengar Mimikyu. That's a 4-digit card now at this point. It's not in the hundreds anymore, it's in the thousands. Also, another card that I think a lot of people are sleeping on, the Gardevoir and Sylveon GX from Unbroken Bonds. I think a lot of people thought this was like a $200-300 card, myself included, because for the longest time it was in that range. But since maybe like what, mid-March, early March, this card has absolutely exploded, more than doubled. Recent sales, $625, 480 seems kind of like an outlier. Before that, 565, 600, 670. Maybe it is trending downwards a little bit, but still a very expensive card. And then also just Cosmic Eclipse in general. The booster box is now up to about 4.5K. And the top 10 value of the cards is I think close to like 2.7, 2.8K at this point. The Arceus Dialga Palkia is the most expensive card now. The Reshiram Zekrom is still like $367. The Solgaleo and Lunala GX is now $339. It's crazy how many cards all these tag teams have basically overtaken the Rosa, which for the longest time was the most expensive card in Cosmic Eclipse. Also the Mewtwo GX, the Mewtwo from Shining Legends. This is now up to about $440 on TCG Player, and the most recent sales are $500, and that's from August 18th, and August 16th, both at $500. So that's just a little bit more value in this video for you guys. But the main point of it was, again, don't have regrets. If you're on the fence about buying something because you don't know if it's worth it at $800 versus $700, it's probably going to be worth it in the long run. And I think looking back, a lot of people do regret not pulling the trigger on certain things. I know even a more recent example for me, last year, I was looking at PSA 10s of the Bubble Mew when they were like $350, $360 Canadian. And I didn't want to buy one just because I couldn't get it for sub $300. I was like, after tax, it's going to be like 400 Canadian. So I didn't pull the trigger, and those are what, like 1,600 US, so not even Canadian at this point. Maybe even like $2,000 at this point. It might even be more than 1,600. I really don't know. I don't track PSA 10s a lot, but I know that that card has basically gone up like 6, 7, 8x when I could have bought it last year. If you guys want to share your biggest Pokemon investing regrets in the comments down below, absolutely feel free to do so. Also, if you got some value out of this content, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. We're closing in on 10,000, which is crazy. Hopefully we can get there sometime in September or October. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.